Everybody, welcome back to 9 to 5 Exodus. This is Ryan here. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 signs that it's time to quit that job. It's 5 signs that it's time to quit your job. I pray that this video blesses you. I'm going to be sharing with you specifically 5 instances where I think it's very crystal clear that it's time for you to leave that place that you're in. I'm going to be sharing some personal stories about my own life, how I knew it was time. And I think some of these things may be things that you can relate to. And if you're experiencing any of these things, again, give yourself permission to understand that it is okay to leave. And to give you guys a background, my name is Ryan. This is 9 to 5 Exodus. On this channel, we'll be giving you specific strategies on when to know if it's time to leave your job. Also giving you the tools, the tips, the tricks, and the strategy to be able to successfully transition from being employed to being self-employed or stepping into entrepreneurship full time. And so if that's something that you want to hear about, do me a favor, like this video, consider sharing this video with someone else. Also consider subscribing to the channel. And so let's go right into it. So sign number one that it's time to quit your job. I think every one of us can agree that if the job that you're working at, if you figure out and you find out or you're introduced that the company that you're with is doing something illegal or immoral, then it's time to leave. Now, I want to give you 2 real world examples. Okay. And so the first one, I worked for a company. I won't say their name. They're a very large company, or at least they were at one point. They received an investment from a company which valued their business at one point for over $38 billion. So it was a very large company. And one of the things that rubbed me the wrong way, because I am a person who is a spiritual person, I'm a Christian, I believe in God, and I understand that there are other people who take their religion, take their spiritual practices very seriously. And so while I was working at this particular company, we had a group of Muslim individuals who would call in about a particular product that we were selling at the time. And what they were inquiring about was wanting to know if there was any alcohol, any trace of alcohol in the product that we sold. And so one of the things that we were told by our boss on the floor is that if people called in about that we would tell them that the formulation of our product is proprietary and that we wouldn't share those information. And there was internally, we had what's called a knowledge base where it would share with us what some of the ingredients of the product was. And there was 0.0, I think 3% of alcohol in this particular product. And what these Muslim people specifically were concerned about, was there any trace amount of alcohol at all? And so there became this moral issue of do we tell the people the truth, or do we tell people specifically what our bosses is telling us to share? And so that was a major consideration for me when it was time to leave that particular job, that I couldn't be in the position where I was lying to people about the facts, because this is someone's health, that if they're ingesting a product that could potentially cause them harm, or ingesting a product that they know that they wouldn't ingest if all of the product information was disclosed fully and transparently, then it wasn't something that I could see myself continuously doing. Okay. Another time I worked for a company. They were a call center company here in Las Vegas, or at least I got hired for that particular position. At this particular company, again, I only lasted a couple weeks because I quickly found out that they were lying to all their customers. They have been in business for, like at least probably like 20 years. Every year, it seems like this particular company changes their name in some aspect. And so, what the crux of their business model would be is they would call unsuspecting realtors and promise that they could provide a service, an SEO service, a search engine optimization service to help them to get more clients, to get more leads. Initially, when I started working there, they showed us all these raving reviews, all these raving, client testimonials of people who had success. But one thing that I quickly realized, my last week of working there, was when a client or a prospective client would ask, could they speak with someone else who has actually done the service? Because these realtors were getting ready to spend anywhere between $4,000 and $20,000 on this particular service that we were selling. And what would happen is they would go and get another employee to pretend to be a happy client or happy customer. And when I saw that, that was pretty much the last day that I worked there. I think I worked one more day because it was a Thursday going into Friday. I wanted to get my full check. But again, after that, I never went back. Okay. And so if a company is doing anything illegal, immoral, unethical, I think this is well in grounds to leave the company. Okay. So number 2 is if you're suffering emotionally or physically. So here are some ways that I suffer emotionally or physically. There were companies that I worked for that it changed my sleeping patterns. I would be so stressed thinking about going to work. Again, maybe you are different. Maybe you have experienced a loss of appetite. Sometimes people have reported losing hair. Again, all these things can affect your time and affect your money and affect your relationship with other people. There was a particular job that I worked at, a very well-known insurance company. They supply the insurance for, some of the largest cell phone companies in the world. Some of you guys may know who I'm talking about. And this particular company, it was so stressful keeping up with all the KPIs, all the key performance indicators, all the metrics that you needed to abide by as an individual rep was so stressful that a lot of times during the day, the majority of my entire team, we would leave and we would go to Applebee's to get drinks because it was so stressful. Like the only way to really, it seemed like to perform this job and actually be there was, again, a lot of the people were medicated. There were, half the people I know were on some type of FMLA disability. They have had to have prescription medication assigned to them. There were people, again, literally my manager, would have marijuana vapes. Other people, again, drinking while at work, and it was just a toxic environment, right? It was so stressful. It was so, very demanding, literally for no reason. We're talking about cell phones. We're talking about insurance, right? And again, they just made it so extra for no reason. Okay, and so that's number 2. Number 3 would be is if you just have a really bad boss. I think all of us have experienced having a bad boss, and that may not be the go-to reason why you leave a place. However, there are some bosses who make your job like a living nightmare. They make you feel like a failure. They make you feel like you're not good enough to be there, that they're doing you a favor by allowing you to work there, that you're subordinate to them in a sense of not just as an employee, but as a person, as a human being, that you're beneath them. They dismiss your ideas. I can tell you, there was a company I worked for. Again, the last place I worked for is right here. That's my resignation letter, 12/17/2020, when I officially left corporate America for the last time. I was working at this particular place, and one of the things that I recommended to my boss is there was a strategy that I thought would help get the company more business because my background is in marketing. And I let him know that I could do this service outside of my normal hours as an employee for like $2,000. And he let me know that he had tried to do this particular service or particular project before. He had paid thousands of dollars and it never worked. And so I left it alone. I literally left it alone. I said, okay, well, if that's your experience, I totally understand. You know, this is my background. I could literally help you to do this. And after that, I left it alone. And it seemed like maybe it couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 days later. You know, this person, gave my boss a cold call. You know, they were a different race. I'll say it that. And they called my boss and they offered him the exact same service that I was offering him, but they offered it to him for $12,000. And he literally put out his credit card and bought it on the spot without hesitation. And when I went to him afterwards to ask him, like, hey, I offered you the same strategy for $2,000, and someone that you don't know, that you've never met before, randomly cold calls you and offers you the same strategy, but for $12,000, why did you decide to do it? And he basically said it just felt right. And so, again, if you're in an environment where your ideas are belittled, you don't have an opportunity to grow, people see you less than because of maybe your race, which I believe this was the case. The only difference in the thing that I said and I presented to him and the other person was our races. And so having a really bad boss can put you in an emotional space. It put me in an emotional space where, again, I just didn't feel healthy. And if you're in that, it's safe to leave, okay? That's going to segue into our next one, number 4, which is going to be a toxic work culture. And do me a favor, if you made it this far in the video, if I'm sharing with you something that has resonated with you, please consider liking this video. It's going to help the YouTube algorithm get this video in front of the right people so that they know that it's okay to leave. It's not okay for you to be abused. It's not okay for you to lose sleep. It's not okay for you to lose your appetite. It's not okay for you to be mistreated. Again, a lot of these things affect your finances. They affect your family. Again, in some of these situations, I would take volunteer time off because I just needed a break mentally. I know that I wasn't meant to be there. And the next thing I would say is number 4 is going to be a toxic work culture. Anytime there's an environment where, gossip and rumors are allowed to run rampant, or there's favoritism that's just openly displayed. There's unnecessary levels of competition. There's backbiting, backstabbing going on. Any type of culture like that, you should not want to be a part. And we're going to get to number 5. Number 5 is probably the most important one. This is the biggest reason why I left my last job here, December 17th, 2020, and have not gone back, is if you feel spiritually led. I am a Christian. I believe in God. I believe Jesus Christ is my personal Lord and Savior. And so I was at this point where I believe God was showing me all the signs that I can take care of you. I can sustain you where you are. And over the last 4 years, it has not been perfect. I would be lying to you if I said it was perfect. But also, to be quite honest, I was figuring out the plan. I was figuring out what God wanted me to do. And so that's why I'm creating this channel, so that I can show you guys systematically the things that I learned over these last going on 4 years, so that your time, if you just do feel led to quit, you do feel led to leave your job, that you have a systematic way that you know that you're going to be able to provide for you and your family. And so if you feel led spiritually to quit, I would continue to tell you to continue to seek God, make sure that it is Him and not you're just being pushed to your limit. And if you do feel spiritually led, I want to encourage you that, again, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be peaches and cream, but it's going to be the most rewarding thing that you do. Over the last 3.5 years, I had to learn to trust God like no other. It's grown me as a person. It's grown me as a man. It's grown me as a husband. It's grown me in every single way, spiritually, emotionally, financially, so many different ways. And so I want to tell you, this has been the most challenging, but also the most rewarding thing. And now I know that I'm stepping into purpose. While I was at one of these toxic jobs that I just mentioned, I had a vision and I had a dream of starting this channel called 9 to 5 Exodus. I literally believe God gave me that idea. I never took action on it. This was all the way back in 2017. And so now I'm doing it now. And so I would tell you guys, don't wait that long. If God is telling you, if whatever you believe in is leading you to make a decision that's going to be for you and your family, I promise you what is on the other side is so much more beautiful than what you're trying to hold on to. And so one of the ways that we help people specifically create a game plan and help them transition out of the workplace is, I believe, for you, starting a social media marketing agency or a coaching business would be the fastest way to help you stabilize your income so that you can make this transition peacefully without causing chaos in your life. And so I want to show you step by step how I've been able to use platforms like YouTube and social media to get clients to actually monetize social media in a way that's allowed me to be able to sustain myself for the last 3.5 years without having a job. And so if you want to learn that, I am working with people on a one-on-one basis over the course of 8 weeks. To work with me personally, it is $1,500 minimum. And so I'm going to let you guys know that up front. But if you do have the $1,500 and you're tired of the sleepless nights, you're tired of the loss of appetite, you're tired of the anxiety, you're tired of losing your hair, you're tired of feeling belittled, you're tired of having your ideas dismissed, you're tired of just not doing what you know that you're being called to do, then I would challenge you to book a call with myself. Let's figure out if I can't help you to come up with a specific plan over the next 8 weeks to leave this job in a graceful way where you're going to be covered and fully protected and supplied for moving forward. And so if that's something you want to learn how to do, please go ahead and text the word supply to 702-608-1689. Again, that's number is 702-608-1689. Text me the word supply. I would love to go ahead and help you. And I will see you guys in the next video. God bless you. Bye-bye.